We begin today with a bombshell report revealing new evidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin personally directed efforts to help Donald Trump win the presidency. The Washington Post reports the CIA presented President Barack Obama and 3 aides with top secret information last August detailing Putin's efforts.
The paper writes, the intelligence captured Putin's specific instructions on the operation's audacious objectives: defeat, or at least damage the Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton and help elect her opponent Donald Trump. CBS News Justice and Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Pegues is in Washington. Jeff, can you explain for us exactly what's new in this report?
Well, what is new is the detail that it provides about some of the sources and methods essentially used to track down some of this information that was coming out of Russia, and how the Obama administration and intelligence officials were able to pinpoint that it was actually Vladimir Putin who ordered this type of interference. We knew that last year, and CBS News reported that as well. But the detail here that this reporting provides, and it is excellent reporting, is something new. How the Obama administration sought to protect the information as it was circulating around the higher echelons of the White House and the U.S. government, in the intelligence community, in law enforcement. So that type of detail was new. But it also exposed, and this is something that we have reported on as well, some of the internal struggles within the Obama administration about how to respond to this type of interference. What is interesting about this story, and we've been covering it now for close to a year, is getting people to sort of understand the context of what was happening at that time and the impact that this was having on the Obama administration, law enforcement, and intelligence officials at the time. This level of interference was so unusual. And I had law enforcement and intelligence sources reacting to that in their conversations with me. And so what you see in this reporting from the Washington Post is more detail about this sort of unrest that was happening below the surface that the public wasn't seeing and wasn't aware of.
And Jeff, I want to get into the Obama administration's response to this intel in a second, but does this information explain to an extent why intelligence officials have been so certain of Putin's responsibility in public hearings?
Well, that's right. You don't just come out and point the finger at an adversary without the evidence. And that's what, at times during this process, the Obama administration was waiting for. And they were going for high confidence that Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin specifically was behind this activity, and they were able to get it through their sources and methods. So it was really remarkable espionage work at so many different levels, and that is something that is talked about here too. But it was clear to Obama administration officials and the CIA director that there was a clear point to this type of interference, that the Russians and Vladimir Putin was putting his finger on the scale to help elect President Trump and to discredit Hillary Clinton. And the U.S. officials at the time felt like they had enough evidence to make that assessment.
Jeff, we know during the transition that President Trump was briefed, and repeatedly he's continued to cast doubt on Russia's responsibility. So the information that's being reported now, is this something that the president would have already known?
Well, it is something that he has been briefed on, certainly. He gets daily briefings, and there were briefings early on before he was sworn in that sort of got him up to date on Russian interference and what the U.S. intelligence community knew. And we have reported over the last several months that President Trump has questioned those findings, which frankly has not been sitting well with many people in the law enforcement / intelligence community. So this is something that President Trump has been briefed on. This was something that President Obama was well aware of, and frankly, it's something that sources throughout law enforcement and the intelligence community are aware of.
Jeff, has the White House reacted to this report?
Not at this point, but we know that the press briefing should start any moment now. So we suspect that we will get some sort of reaction from the White House at that point.
Jeff, I want to talk about this Obama reaction to this secret CIA report, because this Washington Post report says that the Obama administration had concocted some sort of plan against the Russian government, some sort of punitive measures. The Obama administration, according to the Washington Post, was unable to complete that plan before leaving office. It was in the planning stages. So what can you tell us about that? And was the ball then passed to the Trump administration? And what did they do with it?
Well, I can tell you what our reporting is here at CBS News, and we have talked to sources, former and current sources, but over the last few weeks of the Obama administration, really the last few months, how do you respond to this? And there was this struggle about how do you do it without appearing to interfere in the U.S. election. You know, and in a way, putting the finger on the scale for Hillary Clinton. That's what the Obama administration was concerned about being accused of. So they were struggling with the political ramifications of a response, but also in the cyber response realm. How do you respond in the cyber sphere without causing a reaction that is greater than what is happening then at that moment? And that was part of the struggle here. When you're talking about cyber attacks and an offensive cyber response, there is no precedent for something like this. And that's what Obama officials were struggling with as well. There is no precedent here. There is no playbook that will tell you where this is going to go if you strike back at an adversary, Russia, that has been interfering in your election. So that was part of the concern as well. How do you strike back in such a way that is proportional without causing this problem to get worse?
No, a lot of this is unprecedented, of course. Jeff Pegues, thank you so much.